Good evening. First off, we're going to begin with our open study session, talking about the Hobby Hill Disc Golf Study. Shelley?
How are you guys tonight?
Good.
Let's see if I can figure out this clicker. Okay. So we are going to talk to you guys a little bit about the 2024 program that we had out at Hobby Hill. And really want to kind of talk to you about how we're gathering some of our statistical information and analytics. So we are doing an app called UDisc. So the big question is, what is the UDisc app? Basically what it is it's an all-in-one disc app designed by disc golfers, for disc golfers, to with the intention to improve their disc golf experience. The data collected on this app is actually completely independent and user-generated. So we have no input on what's going on in the app or anything with that. So there's two sides to the app. There's the user side, which lets the players quickly and easily, keep score, find courses, track statistics, measure throws, get ratings. Especially if you're in the pro world, you really want to know where your ratings are at and everything. And then there's the administrative side. Now, the data collected by the users on the administrative side gets uploaded every 28 days. But on the administrative side, we basically have like course mapping, layouts, tee positions, placements, pin placements, different things like that. And basically we're trying to ensure that the player has the most accurate information when they come to our course, but it also allows for community engagement and player feedback. So kind of where we're at right now is, how did Gladstone get started using, or where their journey came with the UDisc app? And we started using it in 2021 when we set up to do our inaugural tournament. So we created an administrative account to mainly do the scoring and course layout. We were having a hard time figuring out how we were going to keep score. Do you go old school, which I am sometimes old school, where you have the paper and the pencil and you jot it down, but this was the new upcoming thing that I don't know much about the disc golf world, so we were like, okay, we're going to go that way. In 2022, we began programming out there with a league. GS Disc Golf approached us and wanted to do a league night on Tuesdays. So there's a gentleman with that group. His name's Jeffrey Gabriel Toro. He, I would say, is a UDisc genius. He got all the stuff in there, helped do all the administrative things and get us going with that. And then Dynamic Disc has taken that over. And currently, the Hobby Hill Disc Golf League Night is the highest attended league in the metro area. We average between 60 and 70 players a week, where most courses are getting probably between 20 and 30. In 2024, I took a deeper dive into the app. I am not an analytical person or statistics. Don't ask me how to find anything on Facebook. I don't know. But I dove into this because we were being told Hobby Hill is getting used a lot, and you guys need to realize how much it's being used. So we're hoping to increase our efforts for players to use the app, so that we can not only have the scoring, but also the analytics for the course usage. Now, I know this looks like a lot, so what I really want you to concentrate on is the orange numbers. The orange numbers are the final numbers for the year. And it's a little bit skewed with some of the numbers because, I'll explain this real quick. The rounds tracked are how many times somebody has gone up there, used the app, and gone through the course. The UDisc world says that only 1 in every 4 player actually uses the app. So basically, you're supposed to take that number times 4, and that's how many people are on your course. So for us, that's just shy of 44,000 people that used our course just in 2024. That does not include people who went to the park to play. It does not include people who walked on the trail. It does not include shelter rentals or any of that. So those are kind of that's very high numbers for our area. The only other course that we compare with in this close to us is Waterworks. Otherwise, you're looking at over in Liberty and a couple other places that have anywhere between 4, maybe 6,000 rounds tracked. So we're pretty high up there and quite popular. And if you kind of continue to look at some of those orange numbers, we can score rounds, number of hours on the course. I mean, 17,000 hours were spent just on the course with the users that are on this. Number of new players to Hobby Hill. In 2024, we had 1,000 new players come. Not to mention the number of miles walked. We walked 20,232 miles, which on the little box over to the side equates to 44,108,604 steps. I'm doing pretty good. If I get my 10,000 steps in for the day, I know I'm not getting those steps in. The other thing I want to point out to you in that box is the course rating. So right now, Hobby Hill is considered a course rating of 4.28, which is an overall rating, which is awesome. But the app allows me to actually go in and I can pick what I want to know for the rating for the upkeep, design, T-signs. All of these users are rating every single thing like that. So if there's an area that's low, it lets me know what I'm going to have to work on. And I'll talk about it here in just a little bit, but right now where we're low is our signage and our amenities. And I'll explain the signage here in just a little bit, but otherwise everything that we have rating-wise in there is above a 4, which is awesome. So that's pretty good for us. So just in review, a couple of things, and I do have an update for this, so I need to get my cheat sheet out to tell me what my update is. So Hobby Hill has had players from 34 states and 4 countries, including Canada, Germany, and Cuba. Update to that, believe it or not, in January, I got another state, which I'd been looking for, and it's Alaska, which makes sense as cold as it was in January and February for Alaska to do that. But we also, when I look in previous years, we have also had people from Sweden, Japan, New Zealand, and Australia come to the course. So we're pretty global right now, so it's kind of nice. The other thing is 126 golfers played their first round of UDisc golf at Hobby Hill, and 73 people in the disc golf community have Hobby Hill on their wish list to come and play. So, I mean, I know I'm going to get at least 73 people, hopefully in this next year, that come to our place, but we are now on the wish list. How popular is Hobby Hill? We are 216th most played in the world out of 16,267 courses. We are 137th most played in the United States, and there's 10,600 courses in the United States. And we are the 4th most played course in Missouri out of 331 plus. And the reason I put plus is because there's disc golf courses coming in every day. A lot of people are starting to do 9-round courses, not just the 18. So there's stuff happening all the time. So I'll just put a plus behind that. How frequently is Hobby Hill course used? So last year in 2024, out of 365 days, there were only 10 days that somebody was not on that course that was not a UDisc app user. So basically January, I had 5 days where nobody was at the course. May had 1 day, November had 3, and December had 1. So the course is definitely getting used 12 months a year. I mean, it's getting all the time. This is just kind of some graphics that gives you a little bit of the analytics. The one I really want to point out to you guys is the one up in the corner that has the multicolored lines on it. That is a lifespan, or the life stats of the course. What I really want you guys to look at is you'll see a little, like a light green line that kind of drops down and goes flat over to the right. But then if you go all the way over to the left, you're going to see it starts in May at the very bottom and starts shooting up. I told you that we opened the course in 2021. That is 2020. We had people out at the course before we even finished it, and there were enough enthusiasts that they were logging stuff in UDisc before we even got on the page of getting stuff done. So it's kind of neat to be able to go back and see the lifespan of your course. And the different colors are the different years, but that one I thought was super interesting. And then the one right below it where it has a map of the United States, that's for tourism. I can click on any of those blue sections and find out how many people from that area actually was on the course. So obviously Missouri has the most, but you know, we did have a couple people from Sweden and Japan, so kind of excited. And then the one that I was telling you about where 365 days and only 10 didn't, that's the course traffic map that is right next to it. You're gonna see various colors on that of blue. The lighter the color, not as many users. The darker the color, the more users. So that's just a snapshot. I think it's June 11th, and we had 79 players that day, and that just happened to be a league night, so that's the really dark blue. So it's pretty interesting, and these are not complicated statistics for me to look at, so it's very helpful for me. So also just kind of letting you know that in review, because we are getting this information, it's helping us kind of figure out how to do maintenance with the course. So in 2024, we actually added 18 new baskets and pin placements to create a shorter course so that youth, women, and 50+ adults would be able to utilize the course a little more, make it a little more friendly. It also allows us to do different layouts for different tournaments and things like that. We also added additional rocks, pavers, stones to help with erosion control because of the high volume of players that are on the course. We have relocated a basket and basically replaced new areas for that. This is kind of what I was talking about earlier. We currently are using temporary informational signs, which is where I got digged on my ratings. But we are waiting until we got all of our stuff in place so that we can actually redo all of our signage and everything will be accurate. Right now, everything is up to date on the UDisc app. So if you go out there and you're using it, you know where everything's at. Once we get our new signage and T's in there, or T signs in there, that'll all sync together and make it a lot easier. We also reseeded hole 10 and added 12 new decorative posts to help us when we get these other directional signs in. So 90% of the product and labor for that was donated by Dynamic Disc last year. And then, you know, the city has a little skin in the game where they've gotten some stuff with seeds and signs and different things like that. But a good chunk of that, about $17,000 of that was donated to the course. And the golf community really wants to give back to the course. Here's kind of a picture of some of the folks doing it. That's when they're getting ready to put the signs in. Some of those pavers, that's the new hole 6. And that is one of the creeks. And by having the course out there, I mean, they've been going in and they've been cleaning out stuff at the creeks. I know LaRon's here tonight and he's taken out all kinds of stuff with tires and debris and different things like that. So, I mean, it's a great conservation situation for us as well. Future updates. We do have some things that are coming in we're super excited about. We are going to have a new marquee sign with information and course maps on it. We are going to start really pushing QR codes, especially the UDisc code, so that they can automatically upload it and get their stuff in there and be able to score and help us keep more analytics. The the update on the tee box signage with the new pins and stuff will also be coming in. We do plan on color coordinating the baskets, the short and long baskets, syncing it with what's currently in the UDisc app, and then getting our new signage up. We are shooting for getting whole sponsorship going, and then we're super excited about the additional parking with the 50 new spaces that the Public Works Department is going to be doing this spring, and so that's going to be huge. That's going to help us a ton. So here's just a little picture. You guys have already seen the picture of the parking. Next to it is a picture of what the signs are going to look like, and you'll see we have a QR code up at the top. We're going to have, the baskets are going to coordinate and everything. So like where A is on there, it's actually going to be a white ring. Where the blue is going to be orange. And then if there is a third basket on the course, it'll be yellow. And so everything's going to color coordinate. So if you're somebody who really likes color coordinating and organization, that's going to be awesome for you. And it's going to be helpful for me as well. And then down below, you'll see where if somebody wants to sponsor a hole, we'll be able to put that whole sponsor information there as well. So other updates and volunteers. So just in general, so you guys know, regularly we have general course upkeep, which is going to be, removal of downed trees. That's an ongoing process. Wood chips around the tee boxes. That's also ongoing. We're wanting to address drainage areas on pathways and throughout the course. We want to also be able to clearly define our OB, which is our out of bounds areas on the course. And just want you to know I'm learning all this lingo from LaRon, who's back behind me here. But 95% of the projects have been completed by volunteers. So huge shout out to LaRon and his crew. Thank you. And then the Dynamic Disc Group also. So they've done a wonderful job in partnering with us and helping us learn the sport of disc golf. So here's some pictures of some of the stuff they've done. We've had youth groups come out as well as individuals come out and organizations come out as well. And do you guys have any questions about that?
Are there any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Shelley. This is impressive. Very exciting to have this golf course or disc golf course in our city to bring all those people from around the world.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And LaRon Harris, thank you very much. All right, well, we're going to head straight into our city council meeting. I'd like to welcome you to the regular city council meeting for Monday, March 10th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. here at Gladstone City Hall. Madam Clerk, please note all city council members are present and we have a quorum. Please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all. Our next item is item number 4, the approval of the agenda. If there are no changes or objections to the agenda, it will stand as published. Seeing none, it will stand as published. Item 5, approval of the February 24th, 2025 closed city council meeting minutes.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilmember Moore.
I move for the approval of the February 24, 2025 closed city council meeting minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the closed city council meeting minutes from February 24th, 2025. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The closed city council meeting minutes from February 24th, 2025 stand approved as published. Item number 6, approval of the February 24th, 2025 regular city council meeting minutes.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilmember Moore.
I move for the approval of the February 24, 2025 regular city council meeting minutes.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the regular city council meeting minutes from February 24th, 2025. All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The regular city council meeting minutes from February 24th, 2025 stand approved as published. Item number 7, communications from the audience. Members of the public are invited to speak about any topic not listed on the agenda. While speaking, please state your name and address for the record and limit comments to 5 minutes. Seeing none, we'll move on to our next item. Item number 8 is communications from City Council. Councilman Davis.
Nothing tonight, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Garnos.
Nothing, Mayor. Thank you.
Councilmember Moore.
Nothing, Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Nothing, thank you.
And I have nothing either. Thank you. Item number 9, our communications from our city manager.
I guess I have a couple things, Mayor.
Okay.
Thank you. Hey, if you're not already registered, Wednesday is the last day you can register to be able to vote in the upcoming general election taking place on April 8th. You can visit the city's website to check our voter registration, and view a sample ballot and find other helpful links. And then the 2025 Linden Square schedule is officially out. So be sure to check out the website for details about any of the events that will be held in the outdoor venue this summer, including food, art, drinks, sounds on the square, and much more. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 10, our consent agenda. Madam Clerk, please explain and read the consent agenda.
A consent agenda allows the City Council to consider and approve routine items of business without discussion. Any member of the City Council, the city staff, or the public may request removal of any item from the consent agenda and request that it be considered under the regular agenda if discussion or debate of the item is desired. Items not removed from the consent agenda will stand approved upon motion by any council member. Second, unanimous vote to approve the consent agenda as published or modified. Consent agenda. Consider special event permits. Atkins Johnson Farm and Museum Sunflower 5K Run Walk, Saturday, August 23rd, 2025, 7 to 11 a.m. Picking on the Front Porch, Saturday, September 6th, 2025, 6 to 8 p.m. Big Shoal Country Fair, Saturday, September 27, 2025, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Happy Rock Park East, Friday Fright Night, Friday, October 17, 2025, 5 to 9 p.m. Linden Square, Scarecrow 5K Run Walk, Sunday, October 5th, 2025, 5:30 to 9:30 a.m. Whiskey Fest, Saturday, October 11, 2025, 4 to 10 p.m. Resolution R25-16, a resolution accepting an easement from Walmart Real Estate Business Trust, a Delaware statutory trust, in conjunction with the store improvements located at 7207 North Missouri 1 Highway. Resolution R-25-17, a resolution accepting an easement from a certain property owner in conjunction with the Northeast 76 Terrace Storm Drainage and Parking Project, CP 2531. Resolution R-25-18, a resolution adopting the Mission Square Retirement Governmental 457 Deferred Compensation Plan and Trust as amended and restated, and designating the Human Resources Administrator as the plan administrator. Consider semi-annual financial statement for the 6 months ending December 31, 2024.
Thank you. Does anyone from the audience, city council, or staff wish to remove any item from the consent agenda? Hearing none? No,
Sorry,
yes, sir.
Commissioner. Move we approve the consent agenda as published.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as published. All in favor of approving the consent agenda, state aye. Aye. Any opposed? The consent agenda stands approved. Now we'll move into our regular agenda. First item of business is our public hearing for a special use permit for a Turning Point to continue operating a social services organization at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Englewood Road. During this public hearing, we will hear first from staff, then from the applicant, followed by those in favor of the application, and then by those opposed to the application. I will now open the public hearing.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. The applicant is seeking an extension of their current special use permit until May 1, 2025, as well as a new 3-year special use permit to begin on May 2nd, 2025, to continue operating a social services organization at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Englewood Road. The purpose of the extension is to allow a Turning Point to notify their clients that the on-site guest house services will be discontinued and that the organization will transition to its guest house outreach program. A special use permit is required for this location due to a Turning Point's operation of a social services organization in an R1 single-family zoning district. By comparison, Synergy Services and the Northland Shepherd Center are situated in commercial zoning districts along commercial corridors near North Oak Traffic Way and Northeast Antioch Road. In 2023 and 2024, a Turning Point was granted a one-year special use permit by the Gladstone City Council. In summary, a Turning Point at this location will be able to provide the following services: a food pantry, wardrobes, clothes closet, education academy, job training programs and workforce development, community outreach meals, community meetings, support groups, and the gymnasium for recreation. Ricky Fulmer, the Executive Director of a Turning Point, has submitted an updated and detailed narrative further explaining the organization and the services they provide. That document can be found in your packet. In the packet, you will also see emails, letters, photos submitted to city staff from residents, business owners, Holy Cross Lutheran Church, and the Village of the Oaks about what they have been experiencing while being located next to or on the route to a Turning Point. The primary difference in this special use permit application versus the previous special use permits is that the guest house services are being discontinued at this location starting May 2, 2025. The guest house offers space for clients who want and need laundry facilities, showers, hot meals, computer and internet access, and case management services. The city has been able to track statistics related to a Turning Point over the last year, and these statistics can be found in your packet. From March 1, 2024 through January 31st, 2025, there have been approximately 77 calls for service. Below is the synopsis from the city's crime analyst regarding a Turning Point. Overall, the call volume at a Turning Point exceeds that of most other businesses within the Gladstone jurisdiction. The majority of these calls involve individuals who appear to be under the influence of narcotics and/or alcohol, raising significant concerns regarding the safety of both the community and law enforcement personnel. When not at a Turning Point, these individuals are often observed frequenting nearby areas and businesses, engaging in suspicious behaviors such as attempting to break into vehicles, walk through private property, lying on sidewalks, and exhibiting other concerning actions. Although only 8 arrests have been made in connection with calls at a Turning Point, most incidents involve repeat offenders who are frequent patrons of the establishment. A small number of these calls have involved individuals armed with weapons, presenting potential risk to officers, a Turning Point staff, and other individuals at the location and the broader community. The city believes that a Turning Point provides many social services at a very high level and does a lot of good for the Northland community. But the guest house services, backed by statistics, we believe is having a negative impact on residents, business owners, and other organizations in the region of the commercial operation. Currently, the way the organization is operating, the use is inconsistent with the character of the neighborhood, has created a concentration of negative external impacts in the community that have affected nearby properties, and has utilized a significant amount of city resources. City staff appreciates the passion of those who support a Turning Point and the valuable services they provide. The city believes that the solution provided allows residents, business owners, other organizations, and a Turning Point to coexist. Achieving this goal requires cooperation and compromise from all involved parties. For the City Council and the people in the audience tonight, I want to summarize the many negative experiences residents, business owners, and the other organizations have been facing. There has been, and I have them bullet pointed here, so I'm just going to go through them and you'll be able to read them on the screen. There has been a significant increase in individuals with suitcases wandering the neighborhood and along Inglewood Road, appearing intoxicated by drugs or alcohol. Recently, my sister-in-law was chased by an individual wielding a machete in the parking lot of the salon where she works, located at the corner of Antioch Road and Inglewood Road. A mother with a young child chose to live in the Northridge neighborhood when it was home to a dance school and a church, not a Turning Point. They regularly walk to Inglewood Park from their home, but no longer do so due to negative experiences. She feels unsafe for herself and her child, and her family who resides out of town has expressed serious concerns, and they have strongly encouraged her to move. As the commercial property owner of Antioch 58 Plaza, located near Antioch Road and Inglewood Road, we have witnessed a troubling rise in loitering, defecation, urination, sleeping, and the use of our water spigots for bathing in front of the building over the past 18 months. These individuals are not patrons of the businesses on our property, but rather members of the homeless population seeking services from a turning point. We have documented evidence of these incidents and request assistance to address this situation before it leads to further complications or dangerous situations. As a concerned business owner in Gladstone, located at the corner of Antioch Road and Inglewood Road, I am troubled by the large number of individuals frequenting a turning point and loitering outside my business. This situation is directly affecting my operations, resulting in lost clients. There is persistent trash accumulation, individuals setting up tents, and drug use taking place, including overdoses occurring in the parking lot. I am concerned about the safety of my staff, my clients, and the general public. I respectfully request that a Turning Point special use permit not be renewed and that the organization relocate to a more appropriate area. There has been a notable increase in the number of homeless individuals walking along Inglewood Road daily to access services from a turning point. As this is a residential area, it is inappropriate for a large portion of the homeless population to be trespassing, loitering in yards, and setting up tents. Would it be possible for a turning point to relocate to a more commercially zoned area? Clothing and trash are regularly discarded on Inglewood Road and throughout Gladstone, which I attribute to the clientele of a turning point. I am also concerned about the individuals loitering near the daycare and school facilities across the street. Since a turning point began its operations, I have observed an increase in crime and a higher number of individuals wandering the area. I strongly urge relocating a turning point to a more suitable commercial zone to minimize the impact on local homeowners and children. Now, these comments are more specific to Holy Cross Lutheran Church. A parent reported an incident in which a homeless person was soliciting money while another parent was attempting to drop off their child for daycare. Clients of a turning point have been observed yelling, screaming, and undressing while attempting to enter the daycare facilities. Clients of a turning point have been involved in physical altercations in the street outside the daycare, with parents witnessing the incidents while attempting to drop off their children. An individual receiving services from a turning point was observed selling alcohol to other clients utilizing their services. Homeless individuals are regularly found sleeping on church property. Men are frequently loitering in front of the infant house. A woman was seen undressing in the parking lot and soliciting money. Parents have expressed ongoing concerns about the presence of unfamiliar individuals near the daycare. The city and Turning Point's leadership have been in constant communication over the last year and have been very transparent with one another. At peak levels of when the guest house is being utilized, the program became overwhelming and a challenge to maintain and even dangerous. Moving forward, a Turning Point will pivot and focus on the guest house outreach program and continue to provide the food pantry, wardrobe, community meals, and the academy programs on site. The leadership of a Turning Point has agreed to the following conditions. Take a quick drink of water here. Number one, the special use permit is issued to a Turning Point for 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road only. If ATP relocates, sells, or leases this location to another tenant, either ATP or another tenants must reapply for a new permit to continue the uses authorized in this ordinance. This special use permit is non-transferable to another tenant occupying space at these locations. Expansion of uses not contained in the submitted application or this ordinance is prohibited. Number two, a Turning Point shall apply for and maintain all applicable state, county, and city business and occupational licenses. A copy of such business and occupational licenses shall be provided to the Community Development Department. Number three, hours of operation for this location shall be limited to 7 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Monday through Saturday each week, except at otherwise provided. Number four, this special use permit only allows for the following uses at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road: food pantry, wardrobe, clothes closet, education academy, site to store, prepare, and load vehicles for the community meals outreach program, site to store outreach supplies within campus buildings, community meetings that will continue and take place quarterly, support groups, a community garden, only one community garden not to exceed 3,600 square feet, job training programs for skilled trades and workforce development, a gymnasium building for youth sports leagues, practices, tournaments, performances, recreation, educational activities. Number five, all building and fire safety requirements shall be complied with and maintained as required. Number six, loitering and/or lingering on the property is prohibited. Number seven, the 6-foot privacy fence as well as the property located north and south of the privacy fence between the residential homes and commercial use shall be maintained in perpetuity by a turning point. Number 8, signage shall follow all rules and regulations associated with all City of Gladstone sign ordinances. Landscaping approved by Community Development Department shall be installed and maintained around the monument sign located adjacent to Northeast Inglewood Road. Number 9, all mechanical equipment located on the roof and the ground shall be screened from public view, similar in design to the rest of the structure. All screening shall be approved by the Community Development Department. Number 10, trash service and commercial delivery shall occur between the hours of 7 o'clock a.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. Number 11, dumpster enclosures shall be constructed with materials consistent with the primary building. Specific colors and materials shall be approved by the Community Development Department. Number 12, tractor trailers, storage containers, RVs, campers, and commercial vehicles other than a turning point vehicles shall not be parked or stored overnight on the premises. Storage containers shall not be stored on site unless as part of a valid building permit. Number 13, overnight accommodations of any kind on the property are prohibited. However, this prohibition does not include temporary overnight stays not to exceed 5 nights at a time of 6 occasions per year by organizations performing mission work in and around the greater Kansas City area. In addition, this condition does not include the on-site manager position and his or her immediate family who reside on the property. Number 14, a turning point shall provide education to all clients concerning appropriate access and use of services, including but not limited to activities and behavior in and around the area surrounding a turning point. Number 15, in the spirit of community partnership, a turning point shall facilitate and host quarterly meetings inviting the city's police department, the Kansas City Police Department, Clay County Sheriff's Department, area residents, property owners, parents, churches, businesses, and school district representatives to discuss the overall operation and any concerns related to a turning point's use of the property. A turning point shall create written minutes of these meetings and submit them to Community Development Department within 7 days of a request. Number 16, continue to operate and improve the existing emergency and security plan. Number 17, continue to operate and improve rapid communication tools that allow area residents to alert a turning point of concerns as they arise. Number 18, in the event that staff leadership changes with a turning point, the new leadership shall schedule a meeting with the city manager or his or her designee to review the special use permit and discuss performance expectations. If possible, this should occur prior to any transition taking place, but in no event shall occur later than 30 days after any transition. Number 19, any false statements in the application submitted by a turning point or violation of the conditions stated in this ordinance or other city code requirements may, after reasonable notice, under the circumstances has been provided to a turning point by the city, result in the suspension, modification, revocation, cancellation, or non-renewal of the special use permit. City staff recommends that both requests be approved. Also from the Planning Commission, the first ordinance was approved unanimously, 9 yeses, 0 nos. And for the 3-year special use permit, it was approved with 8 yeses and 1 no. And that is all. Also, we have Ricky, who is the executive director, with us tonight, and I would invite her up to introduce herself.
Good evening, Council. My name is Ricky Fulmer, and I'm just grateful for the opportunity to speak tonight. Do I have to say where I reside? Yes.
Yes, please.
2009 Northeast 91st Street, 64155. As I said, my name is Ricky Fulmer, and I've had the honor of working at a turning point for the past 3 years. First as case manager, now as the executive director, starting in May. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I have my MSW, my BSW. I'm a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, and most recently, a caregiver. These roles are important because I understand the tension many of you feel, because I am very much like you. I want to help those in need, and I want to make sure that I'm maintaining safety and security. Where we differ is that we have geographical limits on how we want to see that happen. It's a conflict between compassion and the discomfort of having those struggles too close to home. I'm from St. Louis, and in that space, I lived 1 block from 2 shelters in downtown St. Louis. That was a day shelter and a night shelter. Hundreds of people slept at the New Life Evangelical Center every single night. It was an emergency shelter. I understand the challenges of living in close proximity to those people whose lives look very different from mine. I'm a parent. I'm deeply concerned for the safety and well-being of my children while also wanting them to see the beauty in people who live differently than I do. My children come to the shelter. The many, many snow days we had this year, my kids were right there alongside of me. I'm a leader in my organization navigating the complexities of funding and reputation and community responsibility, and I personally have experienced having to rebuild my life from the ground up, couch surfing, living out of my car, and starting again from nothing. These experiences, combined with my education and training, have given me a unique and deeply empathetic perspective on the work we do at A Turning Point. A Turning Point is easily misunderstood. While we recognize that there have been challenges, we also could create a list just as long as the one that Austin just read of the positive impacts we've had. From 2020, I'll give you one statistic that is mind-blowing to me. From 2023, 30% of our clients did not return in 2024. That's approximately 650 people who no longer needed our services. That's a lot of people. They came in, they got support, resources, help transitioning into self-sufficiency, and that's not just handing people food and letting them go along their way. That's where our organization is deeply misunderstood. When I get calls from the city, oftentimes it's just, this is a quote, getting those crackheads off of the street, and they feel as though we are enabling. We are not enabling, we are empowering people. There are countless success stories, and the community has shown tremendous support for the work we do. But tonight, I'm not going to share all of those stories with you. I'm here to share our why and a simple ask. Every person who walks through our doors has a heart worthy of a second chance. Our dedicated staff works not to enable them, but to empower them and to provide resources and encouragement so that each person can begin to climb out of their ditch of homelessness. And when they're ready for that, our staff is right there with them to navigate these systems that are incredibly complex to navigate. We don't just see people as their circumstances, we see them for their potential, and they are no different from any of us, other than their brokenness lives right there on the outside of their bodies, on the outside in the streets. And we have all been given opportunities to rebuild, and they deserve the same chance. As we think about the matters before us tonight, I know I am different than a lot of people in this room in the way that I view these folks. But I ask every one of us to take a moment to reflect on the people whose lives you are impacting. Do we really understand who these folks are? And I encourage you to shift your perspective and invest the same energy that you have spent coming to these meetings, calling the city to complain, trying to figure out a way to close our building, into learning about the people that you feel are very different from you. I respectfully encourage you to step foot on our campus, to visit A Turning Point, and to witness firsthand the transformative and lasting work that we do. Finally, I want to remind you of Gladstone's vision for 2025, and it's a vision that is beautifully written of inclusivity, support, and care for every member of your community. ATP is a vital resource for both our housed and unhoused community members. Many of our neighbors rely on your programs. We feed over 55,000 people a year off of our campus. And those are housed individuals who attend local daycares, local businesses, local stores, and invest in this community. We are committed to continuing to work alongside Gladstone, and we are continued to be committed to meet the needs of the community, even without the guest house. I hope that we can see A Turning Point as a necessary piece of the fabric of Gladstone and contribute to a stronger, more inclusive future that includes all residents. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Greer or Ms. Fulmer? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next step in our public hearing, and that is listening to the individuals in favor of the special use permit, and they will be followed by individuals opposing the special use permits. When you approach the microphone, we do need for you to state your name and address. We would ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes. We would also ask that you do not repeat yourselves, redundancy, just for the sake of time. And I would welcome individuals now who are in favor of the special use permit.
Wasn't sure if I had to remove my hat. My name is Daniel Fowler. I live at 6917 North Troost Avenue, just walking distance from here. I walked here tonight. I'm a Gladstone resident since 2006, and I'm also a member of Good Shepherd United Methodist Church, the Gladstone campus, which Kathy McIntyre is currently the lead pastor of that campus, who was formerly the director of A Turning Point. And I am 100% in favor of extending the special use permit. It is an absolute necessity that we have these services in our community. I'm saddened that we weren't able to make the guest house work, but I trust Ricky Fulmer and her staff implicitly. They are doing as best of a job as they can to try and serve a very important need in our community, a need that I am very afraid as a citizen of not just this community, but also of our country right now, that may increase in need over the coming years. And so I urge you, please, please keep this community safe and keep this community whole by having these services. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in favor of the special use permit? Seeing none, we will move on to individuals opposing the special use permit.
Hello, I'm Monty Stevenson. My wife and Janice and I live at 700 Northeast Barnes Avenue in the village of Oakwood. We lived there for 8 years and have lived in the Northland all our lives. Really like it up here. We like the closeness and the friendliness of the smaller Northland communities. Until recently, we've not really had a reason to look elsewhere. But over the last few years, we have noticed an increase in people that appear to be homeless, walking the streets, at the bus stops, panhandling. I understand Gladstone does not allow panhandling and recently discontinued Kansas City bus service. I think these actions, and I'm sure others, were done with the intention of protecting your citizens and businesses within your boundaries. In the last couple of years, we've noticed a significant increase in foot traffic on Inglewood Road. Almost all are carrying bags, backpacks, rolling suitcases. Most recently, during the 2 big snowstorms we had this year, these people had to unfortunately walk in the street because the sidewalks were not clear, which posed a significant risk, I think, to both them and the motorists that travel on Inglewood Road. I acknowledge that ADP does provide a needed service. I'm a Methodist member that supports the ADP, but I don't see it being where it's at. It poses a risk both for the local residents and the businesses that pay taxes so that they can enjoy the benefits of living in a small community. I'm not sure why Gladstone made the variance in the first place. Again, because it's a residential area with no bus stop that's close by. North Oak is a mile away. Antioch is a half a mile away. So it does seem kind of unfair that these people that are using the service are forced to walk 1 to 2 miles in whatever elements exist that day that they've got their appointment. I don't know how many people a week are utilizing ADP, not including guest house, which I know is going away. I know there's significant numbers there. Gladstone's a small community, so I know their own paperwork. I've read it, says that they service recipients from up to 17 different counties in Missouri and Kansas. So I'm not sure how many of these people have to ride the bus versus driving, but we've heard that, I had heard that Gladstone is asking, or has asked, that Kansas City move the bus stop on the northwest corner of Inglewood and Antioch Road to a location further south in Kansas City. If this is true, then I wonder why it's being moved if there's no problems. I was at the previous meeting for the zoning commission, and your own police captain said that, or police chief said that there were 77 police calls for the 11 months preceding January. And that's just for Gladstone. Doesn't include numbers from Kansas City. One of the things that was said there I thought was telling or concerning was that he said, overall, the call volume exceeds all other areas of Gladstone. The majority of these calls involve individuals either under the influence of drug or alcohol and raises significant concerns for both the residents and the safety of law enforcement personnel. That seems telling to me. We did reach out, we reached out to the city of Kansas City, North Patrol Division, to try to get similar statistics, which I'm surprised that they weren't available, but they weren't able to pull them before we got here tonight. But he did acknowledge that they see the same issues on their side of the street on Inglewood Road. I'll just close with saying, knowing that ATP has been a problem for the local residents and businesses, I encourage Gladstone to reconsider the 3-year renewal for a 1-year renewal. Just on the off chance that the steps that are being taken don't remedy the problem, to me, it makes more sense to just renew it for 1 year than to go for a full 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Luther Sallin, and I'm with Holy Cross Lutheran Church, which is across the street, 2003 Inglewood. You've seen the stuff from Holy Cross, and I don't need to go into it any more than what's already gone into it, that it's a hazard. We support what's going on over there. It's in the wrong place. It needs to be in a commercial area. So as a church, we applaud what they're doing, but it's in the wrong location. So that's all I've got to say.
Thank you, sir.
Haven't spoken to a group like this before, so I'm not comfortable. I'm sorry. I'm Pat Adamoto, and I live at 520 Northeast Barnes in Oakwood. This is my professional volunteer uniform. I spent from 7 hours of 7 to 11 today, face-to-face, with homeless people. I've done that since 1982. So I am not against what Turning Point is doing. I applaud them. That's what I've done. I took that as my mission back in 1982, and I've been at downtown and in every difficult situation you can imagine, and I still do it. Look at me. I think I'm getting a little old to do it, but I'm still doing it. Turning Point's a wonderful thing. They're in the wrong place. There's a daycare. There's a grade school. Those are all small houses. I'm also a realtor. All small houses close together, no place for them to go. My co-mother-in-law, who's a wonderful person, was volunteering there. And so I was talking to her about, what goes on. And she said, well, we take care of them and they just leave. I said, Liz, where do you think they go? They get in their Mercedes and drive off? What do you think? And she goes, never thought about that. So it's been unfortunate. I've thought so since the beginning. I also have a very personal reason for being concerned. Thanksgiving morning, I woke up, my house was on fire. And there was a young man in my house. He had set my house on fire. Supposedly, I was the victim of a drug deal. He thought I had his money. That's what the Clay County Sheriff told me. I did not make that up. I swear I did not. So I am a victim of the violence that has been brought on. And Mr. Greer did a really good job of outlining everything. And but it's personal with me. I'm as you could tell, I'm an older widow, and I was attacked. I was injured. I have burned carpet in my house that the insurance company doesn't want to replace. I'm all for what they're doing. They've just got to do it somewhere else where there's a little more safety for people. We can't endanger our school children and our people that okay, they've taken my home, he's took my home away from me. Do you understand that? It was my sanctuary. I've been there since 1993. I worked hard and paid for that home. And now it's not really my home anymore. So it's a personal thing that we're facing when it comes to us. But as I said, I'm certainly not against what they're doing. I've done it in several different locations, several different ways. I stood on the street during COVID and handed out blankets on Benton Boulevard. I'm not afraid. But it's our children in our neighborhoods. So I would like to see them not there at all. So thank you for doing this. Oh, and thanks to Clay County Sheriff, who showed up pretty quickly. Okay.
Good evening.
My name is Dawn Stalder, and my business is at 5530 Northeast Antioch Road. It's been there for 22 years. And this last year's been the worst. unbelievable what we've had to put up with. Indecent exposure, attacking our clients in the parking lot, asking for money, older clients. And now they're saying they don't want to come anymore. If I lose that, then I lose my business. We've had to lock the bathrooms down. The trash in the parking lots, it's just unbelievable. I'm not against what they're doing. That's wonderful, but it's just in the wrong spot. It's been really bad. Curry Investment Company is to hire a private security company for us in the parking lot because we called Kansas City so many times they quit coming because it would be the same thing. They would run them off the property. Come back. I just can't do this for 3 more years. It's daily. It's daily. We get calls from people talking about the people walking up Inglewood and the yelling, the shouting, the fighting. I was at the salon yesterday and they were fighting in the parking lot, screaming obscenities. We lock the door all the time because we're afraid. And I work late at night. And I try to get security to come and make sure nothing's happening. Because we're afraid to walk out. Because they sleep behind the shopping center. They're in the dumpsters. They set fire to the dumpsters. It's almost too much. It really is. And I know you're in Gladstone. I'm in Kansas City. But someone's got to stop. It really does. It's too much. And I know when they leave up there, the bus doesn't run every 15 minutes. It seems like every 2.5, 3, 4 hours. So what are they going to do? They're going to loiter. They're going to loiter. I'm actually a first responder. I've had Narcan training. I have Narcan at my salon because there's been incidents. They're laying out on the sidewalks. They're laying out in the parking lot. You don't know what's happening. So I'm hoping that's not what's happening. But it could. We found drug paraphernalia. One day I got to the salon and there's a lady laying behind my salon, her and a possum. She was laying there with a possum out on the ground. I mean, oddest thing ever. She thought she gave birth to the possum. She said it was her baby. And of course, we called security. They came. They just asked her to leave the property. Now she walks up and down Antioch Road. They're living in the drainage on the corner of the building. They're living in the dumpsters. Behind the shopping center is so trashed, it's not even funny. And you try to clean it up, but it comes back. So I don't know what the answer is. I just don't think it's a good spot. I don't have the answer. But it's really affecting our business in the shopping center. We've all had to lock bathrooms down because of defecations. I mean, it's not good. The Dollar Tree, a guy busted out both doors right before Christmas, threw pavers right through the front doors. In the middle of how cold it was outside. What are they going to do? They have older people that work there, and they're afraid. I just don't know. So that's why I'm here tonight, just to let you know. I've talked to the city manager a couple of times about different things that's happened. And I'm at my wit's end. I don't know what else to do. Like I said, I'm not opposed to what they're doing. I just think once they leave there, they have nothing to do until the bus comes. And it doesn't run every 15 minutes, every half hour. It's 2 or 3 hours. So that's when all this stuff's occurring. I don't want to lose my business because of their loitering and scaring people. But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else?
My name's Joanna Sumler. I live at 1533 Northeast Englewood, literally across the street on the Kansas City side. This was a great neighborhood, quiet. We've been there 13 years, no problems at all. Since this started, it's been a nightmare. We've seen the fights. We've seen people sleeping up in the yard, all over. I've been chased in my yard by a frequent flyer who constantly is in a fit of rage, walking down the street, screaming at everything and nothing. It's scary. Not only that, they will sit up there for hours. They see you coming and going. They know your schedule. They know who lives in the houses. You're kind of scared to leave because you don't know if you're going to come back find them in your house, your possessions gone. It's not a good place. People cannot walk the neighborhood like they used to because of the elements that you're running into. The things they're doing is good, but it's like everybody else. It's the wrong place. They have taken a nice, quiet neighborhood and just torn it up. And moving's not an option. I mean, it's not, we shouldn't have to move. Pay for the privilege of being there. It's just not right. I'm totally against it. Thank you for listening.
Brandy Fannin, I live at 5604 North Oak Tree Lane in Village of Oakwood. And basically where I live is just on the north side of Englewood, right off where Truce dead ends. It becomes Oak Tree Lane. So right down the street from a turning point. And up until for a few months, I was actually a volunteer for a Turning Point serving meals at Shamir Park on Sunday afternoons until there was an incident where fentanyl was brought to the premises. And at that point, my husband and I decided that it wasn't worthwhile for me to put myself in danger. I don't want to be Narcan trained or have to carry it on me to volunteer my time. I definitely believe in this cause. Before that, I had volunteered at Davis Park serving as well. So this is one of my passions, is helping the homeless, but I have quit doing that in our community just because of the things that I've been witnessing and things that we have experienced in my neighborhood. I recently, a little over a year ago, I started working off the Kendallwood Parkway, so we're 3 buildings off of Antioch. And as I drive back and forth to my home for lunch or on, to work and so forth, I have seen a woman stripped down in front of the church, and I've seen people defecating on the north side of Englewood, right in the middle of the day. I have had issues with them. We've had to call the sheriff's department before. One night I was home alone, and this was a few years back, but we did have to call the sheriff's department because someone was trying to break and enter into my house. I actually called the city of Gladstone, even though they're not who I'm supposed to call, and I just was by myself and so scared. And I said, I think that you could get here quicker. Do you mind? And they were very kind, and they came out. And since then, we've installed a new security system. We've had problems. About a year and a half ago, we had to call the Clearwater County Sheriff's Department. Before that, I was working out of the home, and my admin and my neighbor had witnessed some homeless gentlemen coming and taking camp in our backyard. We have lots of woods. The Stewart Creek that runs right through there underneath Englewood is in my backyard. A couple of winters ago, my next door neighbors had to call the ambulance and the sheriff's department because a homeless gentleman had curled up on one of the very coldest nights of the year and had fallen asleep in his front yard in a t-shirt and jeans. And they had said, had they not called, he probably would have been deceased. They wouldn't tell us whether or not he even made it, but at that point, they were just thankful that we had called. Within the last 6 to 9 months, I redirected a gentleman. He was confused on some type of substance, walking down our street. There's only 3 houses that have driveways on my street, and the street is maintained by Gladstone. The Gladstone easement is at my front yard, and he thought he was looking for somewhere to go. I couldn't quite understand. I redirected him to the closest bus stop up on North Oak, and he was non-confrontational and did leave and did walk up there. But it's scary to me to live in this area. I've lived in that home for 10 years. I've lived in the Northland since 2003. I'm originally from Kansas. I love the Northland. Drug my husband up here, kicking and screaming, but I really love living where I live. And it's just become very dangerous. And it's, I feel sorry for the people that live in Northridge because they're right there, and I'm sure they get so much more of it. And I don't want to also have to be driving during the day just witnessing all of this. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any other individuals that would like to speak in opposition of the special use permit? Seeing none, thank you.
I'm Janice Stevenson. My husband was up here earlier, and I just have to say, out of all the information that's gathered, I live at 700 Northeast Barnes in Village of Oakwood. We went to Oak Park High School. We met at Ball's White Front Grocery Store. We have lived here all of our lives. We've been married for over 40 years. I love this area. We don't live in Gladstone right now, but the bulk of my life, I have lived in Gladstone. I lived on a farm in Gladstone. I love it. My brothers still live here. My father was a chiropractor for, 32 years here. I love this community. We deserve to be safe. We deserve to be able to walk on our sidewalks. We deserve to be able to have businesses here and walk to Duck Donuts, who is a new resident at that corner. While I was not able to gather all the information from the Kansas City, Missouri side, he stated, Sergeant Drew, that it was a known problem at this intersection. So the 77 that were reported on the Gladstone is just a tip of the iceberg. You've already heard from the one business owner who's on the Kansas City, Missouri side. If you had all the information from that area, it would be even worse. I have 2 grandsons, and we cannot take his little motorized tractor on Inglewood Road when he's there with us on the weekends because it's not safe. I will do it on Sunday because the Turning Point's not open on Sunday. And while I understand that you are taking something away from the Turning Point, how can you say that that's going to alleviate all these problems? I just don't understand why it's there. It needs to be somewhere else. And I can stand up here and I can tell you all the non-for-profit organizations that I'm in. I work still, and I'm in charge of twice a year, we do a give back. It's not that I'm opposed to helping out people. That's not it at all. We deserve to live in a safe community. And right now it's not.
Are there any other individuals that would like to speak in opposition? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. We will move on to our item number 12. It's the first reading of Bill number 25-08, an ordinance granting a special use permit subject to certain conditions to a turning point for the purposes of operating a social services organization in an R1 zoning district at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road, expiring May 1st, 2025. I will accept a motion.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilman Garnos.
Move to place Bill number 25-08 on its first reading.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to place Bill number 25-08 on its first reading. Is there any discussion? All in favor of placing Bill number 25-08 on its first reading, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill.
First reading, Bill Number 25-08, an ordinance granting a special use permit subject to certain conditions to a turning point for the purposes of operating a social services organization in an R1 zoning district at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road, expiring May 1, 2025.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilman Garnos.
Move to accept the first reading of Bill number 25-08, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the first reading of Bill number 25-08, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading. Is there any discussion? All in favor of placing Bill number 25-08 on its second and final reading, state aye. Aye. Any opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill.
Second reading, Bill Number 25-08, an ordinance granting a special use permit subject to certain conditions to a turning point for the purposes of operating a social services organization in an R1 zoning district at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road, expiring May 1st, 2025.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilman Garnos.
I move to accept the second and final reading of Bill number 25-08 and enact the bill as ordinance number 4.693.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the second and final reading of Bill number 25-08 and enact the bill as ordinance number 4.693. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Spallo.
Councilmember Moore.
I would like to just make a reference for our audience to say that what we're doing in this ordinance here in this bill is to allow a turning point to exist as it does now with the guest services component until May 1st, 2025, that period of time only.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Davis?
Aye.
Councilman Garnos?
Aye.
Councilmember Moore?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Spallo?
Aye. Bill number 25-08 stands enacted as Bill number 4.693. Item number 13 is the first reading of Bill number 25-09. An ordinance granting a special use permit subject to certain conditions to a turning point for the purposes of operating a social services organization in an R1 zoning district at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road for 3 years, starting May 2nd, 2025.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilman Garnos.
I move to place Bill number 25-09 on its first reading.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to place Bill number 25-09 in its first reading. Is there any discussion? All in favor of placing Bill number 25-09 on its first reading, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill.
First reading, Bill Number 25-09, an ordinance granting a special use permit subject to certain conditions to a turning point for the purposes of operating a social services organization in an R1 zoning district at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road for 3 years, starting May 2nd, 2025.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilman Garnos.
Is that the first reading?
That was the first reading.
I move to accept the first reading of Bill number 25-09, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the first reading of Bill number 25-09, waive the rule, and place the bill on its second and final reading. Is there any discussion? All in favor of placing Bill number 25-09 on its second and final reading, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Madam Clerk, please read the bill.
Second reading, Bill Number 25-09, an ordinance granting a special use permit subject to certain conditions to a Turning Point for the purposes of operating a social services organization in an R1 zoning district at 1900 and 1904 Northeast Inglewood Road for 3 years, starting May 2nd, 2025.
Mayor Spalla.
Councilman Garnis.
I move to accept the second and final reading of Bill number 25-09 and enact the bill as ordinance number 4.694.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to accept the second and final reading of Bill Number 25-09 and enact the bill as ordinance number 4.694. Is there any discussion?
Mayor Spalla.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
I apologize. I should have asked this question probably during the public hearing, but Ricky, can you tell me what percentage of your clients that will be using the pantry and whatnot come actually by vehicle versus opposed by foot?
I would say it is 90 or above % will be using vehicles. They get approximately $300 worth of food per cart. That is very hard to transport via bus.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion?
Mayor Spalla.
Councilman Davis.
One, thank you, everybody, for being here tonight on either side of this. Obviously, it's a very touching piece and sentimental to everybody. I do have many concerning thoughts around what Mr. Greer presented to us, as well as everybody on both sides. I have prepared a quick statement that I would like to share tonight because I think it's important to actually say what I mean. And I've spent a little bit of time on this statement, so I want everyone to hear it for me. One, I am truly grateful for organizations like a Turning Point and you, Ricky. Thank you. And for the many people that in our community give their time and hearts to those who are going through difficult seasons. That kind of compassion reflects the best of who we are, and I believe it's something we should always encourage and support. At the same time, our first responsibility as leaders is to protect the safety and the well-being of our residents, especially our women and our children. It's near and dear to me, for sure. While I support a Turning Point continuing its core mission, I believe moving forward without the guest house is the right and responsible choice at this time. We will absolutely continue to monitor the situation closely, working with both police departments on the Kansas City and our own, always striving to strike the right balance between compassion and the security of our neighborhoods as we serve this.
Thank you. Is there any other discussion?
Mayor Spallo.
Councilmember Moore.
Just for a point of clarification, as I did for the first bill that we did, this bill allows the Turning Point to continue in its location under a special use permit for 3 years without the guest services portion of their services. I think that all the research that we've done and all the calls for services that we've received have been as a result of the guest house. And Ricky and her team have worked very closely with the city to monitor that and to make that evident. And so it is in our best judgment that that is the program that is causing the problem. So as Councilman Davis said, we will monitor this closely and continue to monitor this as we go, as if this passes, if they go through for the next 3 years. So we want to assure all of you of that.
Mayor Pro Tem
I think
Smith.
it's also important to know that just because they're getting a 3-year permit, if it passes tonight, that's not a guaranteed 3 years. They have many conditions they must meet, and if they don't meet those conditions, then this council can pull the permit literally at any time. This is a real tough one because I understand what these folks feel like. You know, if it's true 90% plus come by vehicle and we're able to reduce the foot traffic or eliminate the foot traffic, hopefully that solves the problem. If it doesn't solve the problem, we quite frankly can yank the permit. I also talked to a lot of people down in that area, and this is not an easy choice because I think we all support the mission, but I think you're mostly correct in that it's probably the wrong thing at the wrong place, or the right thing at the wrong place. And we may have let it go, quite frankly, a little bit too long. And Ricky, speaking to you, I don't know what it'll take and how you advise the general population or your clientele, but we're looking for May 1 to be a hard stop. May 1 needs to be a hard stop.
Councilman Garnos.
Thank you. Even though I'm normally the quiet one, I had some comments also. Since you opened the door, you get them. I'm disappointed that we've come to this situation. I supported the 2 one-year special use permits for the guest house program. We put numerous conditions on the program to try to allow this to help the unhoused people in our area. I think the program's goals and policies for providing day services are valuable and helpful. I think both the City of Gladstone and a Turning Point have made a good faith effort to make the day services program successful. Nonetheless, despite everybody's best efforts, the problems have not only continued, but they've gotten worse. Obviously, the biggest problem is trying to provide this program in the middle of a residential area, which is zoned for residential purposes. When I first heard about the guest house program and went and saw it for myself, as did other members of City Council, I was impressed with the services they provided, as well as the safeguards that they had put in place for security. Over the last 2 years, the guest house program has significantly increased its security, and yet the problems have continued both at and around their property. Virtually no one has been critical of the services the guest house provides. The problem is trying to do it at this location. There's 2 other contributing problems I wanted to mention. The first is that the fact that a Turning Point is located on the border of Gladstone and Kansas City, Missouri, on the other side of the street. That hasn't made these problems any easier to deal with or address, and again, that's a problem with location. Second, I think another one of the problems has been the free bus service provided by KCATA. I think they've contributed to the growing number of people who've been receiving guest house services, have been responsible for increasing number of unhoused people that are seen loitering in the neighborhood. I would also add that when KCATA tried to triple what Gladstone had to pay for bus services, and we told them to go to hell, they stopped using the bus stops in Gladstone. KCATA came back later and asked if they could continue to use one stop in Gladstone, the one at Englewood and Antioch. It's technically a few feet inside the city of Gladstone. We said okay, and guess which bus stop has been causing all the problems, both there and at the strip mall across the street. So I'd also like to ask the city manager to reassess whether we want to continue to allow KCATA to use that stop, particularly since there's a bus transfer station a block further south where the old Antioch Mall used to be. I want to thank Bob and Austin for their efforts over the past 2 years to try to make this work, and for their flexibility and innovation in trying to find solutions. I want to thank Chief Ferris and our police department, who are the ones who have actually had to respond to and deal with the problems there. I also appreciate your efforts to reach out and work with the program to improve public safety and to document the number and types of problems that have required your response. I want to thank the people of Gladstone. During the last 2 public hearings on this issue, the room has been packed with people who care, people who want to help other people. That's the type of people we have here in Gladstone, and that's something we should all be thankful for. And finally, I want to thank you, Ricky, and a Turning Point for everything you've done to try to help the unhoused in our area. I support the other programs you run. I've been impressed with your food pantry, the closed closet, and your educational programs. But trying to provide day services to the homeless in the middle of a residential area and across the street from a daycare is simply not going to work anymore, and I'm sorry.
I don't think I have much more to add. What we want to make sure that all of you know is that if we do pass this tonight, that your comments are always welcome. If you're having issues, you are just a phone call away to any of us, and we are always welcoming your comments, and we just want to work well with everyone, including all of our residents in Kansas City, in Oakview, all the businesses in Kansas City. We're all in this together. You folks serve our residents, and we just want to make sure that everyone is being treated well and not scared to be in their homes, not scared to be at their businesses, and that the folks that own these businesses also are prospering and aren't losing their renters. So we will move on, and Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilman Davis?
No.
Councilman Garnos?
Yes.
Councilmember Moore?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith?
Aye.
Mayor Spallo?
Aye. Bill number 25-09 stands enacted as bill number 4.6, I'm sorry, ordinance number 4.694. Item number 14, resolution R-25-19. A resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with Fleshman Construction Incorporated in the total amount not to exceed $581,682.25 for the Gladstone KCMO Dog Park Project CP2 459. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Spallo.
Councilmember Moore.
I move for the adoption of Resolution R-25-19.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution R-25-19. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution R-2519 stands approved. Item number 15, Resolution R-25-20. A resolution authorizing change order number 3 in the amount of $208,245.35 to the contract with Metro Asphalt Incorporated for the fiscal year 25 Mill and Overlay Program, Project TP2506. I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor Spallo.
Mayor Pro Tem Smith.
Move to adopt resolution R-25-20.
Second.
There's a motion and a second to approve Resolution R-2520. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Resolution R-25-20 stands approved. Is there any other business to come in front of the City Council this evening? Hearing none, we are adjourned.